Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. The tension inside society was thick enough to choke on. Nate Hastings stood near the bar, phone pressed to his ear, his jaw tight as he listened to Devin Winter's vent on the other end. Neither man had heard from Lily, not a text, not a call, nothing. And for two brothers who already distrusted the Newman orbit, silence felt dangerous. She wouldn't just disappear, Devin insisted. I know, Nate replied quietly, I know. He disconnected just as Victoria Newman swept in like a storm cloud wrapped in designer silk. She didn't greet him with a smile. She didn't sit gently. She grabbed her wine and took a long swallow as if she needed something stronger. Her eyes burned with purpose. My plans for Phyllis have changed, she said flatly. Nate's brow lifted, that alone was enough to worry him. Victoria explained that she had decided to use Summer's anger against her mother. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't pretend it was something noble. If Phyllis Summers wanted to play games with Newman Enterprises, then Victoria would play harder. She needs to understand that she'll be completely alone if she doesn't give the company back, Victoria said. Nate folded his arms, you're weaponizing her daughter. Victoria's lips pressed thin, your words, not mine. He reminded her gently but firmly that she once refused to turn her own children against Billy Abbott, that she had chosen grace over vengeance. Will you show the same grace to your brother? Nate asked. Victoria didn't hesitate. I know. Her voice was ice. Nick wasn't on board with her strategy. That irritated her almost as much as Phyllis did. But what irritated her most? Victor confiding in Adam instead of her. Victoria's resentment simmered. She was the loyal one, she was the heir. And yet lately it felt like her father trusted Adam of all people more than her. All the more reason for me to fix this, she declared. I'll be the one who restores Newman Enterprises. Nate tried once more. You need a contingency plan if Newman is gone for good. It's not, she snapped. He suggested alternatives, strategic pivots, new ventures, protection measures. Victoria shot everyone down. I want Newman Enterprises back, she said, eyes blazing, and I'm going to get it. Across town at the Genoa City Athletic Club, sparks of a different kind were flying. Jack Abbott spotted Victor Newman from across the room and naturally couldn't resist. Well, if it isn't the fallen emperor, Jack drawled. Victor turned slowly, his expression lethal, blathering idiot. Jack smiled wider, heard you misplaced an empire. The air between them crackled, old rivals, old war. Victor stepped closer, Newman Enterprises is far from finished. Jack shrugged, if you say so. The tension only broke when Nikki Newman appeared. She didn't waste time. Where have you been? She demanded of her husband. Victor's jaw hardened, handling business. That's not an answer. Jack seized the moment to exit before becoming collateral damage, joining Diane Jenkins at the bar instead. From their vantage point, Diane and Jack watched Victor and Nikki's heated exchange. Diane lifted her glass to the fall of the House of Newman. Jack clinked his irreparable damage. But Diane wasn't as convinced as she pretended to be. She knew Victor Newman too well. He didn't fall, he regrouped. Across the room, Nikki's frustration mounted. Victor refused to explain where he'd been or what he'd been doing. He offered crumbs instead. He had given Kane Ashby incentives to make things right. That was it. What does that mean? Nikki pressed. It means Lily and the children are fine, Victor replied, and we will get everything back soon. Soon? That word didn't soothe Nikki, it chilled her. Meanwhile, Diane spotted Victor and Nikki toasting, actually toasting, and anxiety flared in her chest. Why are they celebrating? She whispered. Jack dismissed it, damage control. But Diane wasn't reassured. Jack's phone rang, pulling him away. Diane headed to the powder room. Nikki entered moments later. Their reflections locked in the mirror. Diane didn't waste time. Stop using your family's tragedy to gain sympathy from your husband. Nikki arched a brow. Excuse me. You play the damsel in distress so well, Diane continued coolly. It's exhausting. Nikki gave a soft laugh. You're threatened. By what? By the fact that Victor and I have history, loyalty, a bond you'll never understand. Diane's jaw tightened. You don't deserve Jack. Nikki turned fully toward her, and you don't deserve him either. The gloves were off. Stop pretending you're some wounded saint, Diane hissed. Nothing about this changes your reality. Oh, I know, Nikki said sweetly, nothing changes. As she leaned in slightly. Oh, in that lip color, Nikki added, not one of Jabot's best. The sting landed. Nikki exited with quiet triumph. Back in the main room, she found Victor on the phone. His voice was low, controlled. Too controlled. Something was very wrong. They left together. Diane returned to Jack, who asked casually, everything okay in there? Diane smiled perfectly. She did not mention the war she'd just ignited. At Crimson Lights, another family fracture was exploding. Daniel Romalotti sat on the patio, notebook open, guitar nearby. He was writing, pouring his frustration into melody. Tessa Porter approached quietly. Mind if I help, she asked. She needed distraction. Mariah had discovered the divorce filing and shockingly had been calm, too calm. I felt shut out of her pain, Tessa admitted. Daniel understood that feeling all too well. They began working together, lyrics formed, harmony built. Then the patio doors flew open. Phyllis Summers stormed out like a hurricane. Daniel Romalotti, she declared, voice shaking with fury, I will never, ever forgive you for this. The music died instantly. Daniel stood slowly. Phyllis accused him of poisoning Summer's mind, of convincing her that she, her own mother, was the villain. You are the villain, Daniel shot back. Her face went pale with disbelief. You and Nick have been manipulating her. No, Daniel replied, we've been telling her the truth. Phyllis ranted about betrayal, about loyalty, about how she was doing this for the family. Daniel wasn't buying it. You warned me I'd lose you if I did this, she said desperately. And you did it anyway. She tried to offer him a job, leverage really. I don't want anything from you, Daniel said. His voice cracked, but he didn't back down. You've gone too far, I am done. Phyllis froze. Done? Forever? Daniel grabbed his coat and gestured for Tessa. They left together, leaving Phyllis standing alone on the patio. Sharon Newman stepped outside just in time to witness the aftermath. Her eyes locked with Phyllis. No words. Just judgment. Phyllis swallowed hard. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Outside society, the night air cooled Victoria's temper slightly. Nate stood beside her, steady as always. Thank you, she said quietly, for being a calming influence. He smiled gently, that's what I'm here for. There was a shift in the air, a pause that felt heavier than the rest. Victoria stepped closer. I don't say this enough, Nate continued, but I care about you deeply. Her breath caught. And then it happened. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, testing. Then it deepened. Months of tension, loyalty, ambition, and shared battle lines melted into that one moment. When they finally pulled apart, the world felt briefly silent. But in Genoa City, silence never lasted. Back at Crimson Lights, Phyllis paced the patio. She tried to rationalize. She wanted to give her family a life beyond their dreams. Security, power, control. Was that so wrong? But Daniel's word echoed in her mind. Forever. Did he mean it? Inside, Sharon watched carefully. Phyllis turned as if to follow Daniel, but stopped. Pride anchored her feet. Across town at the Newman ranch, Nick Newman waited in the living room. Victor and Nikki entered. Nick stood immediately. What happened? Victor didn't sugarcoat it. The judge threw out Matt Clark's case. Nick blinked. What? The detective assigned to the case was compromised, Nikki explained grimly. The ruling was immediate. Nick's stomach dropped. Oh, that means he's free, Victor finished. The words landed like a bomb. Matt Clark free. Nick ran a hand through his hair. You've got to be kidding me. Victor's eyes burned cold. This is not over. Nikki looked shaken. For all her strength, this was too close to home. We will handle this, Victor insisted. But for once, the certainty in his voice didn't erase the fear in the room. Nick thought about Sharon, about his children, about the danger that had nearly consumed them before. Matt Clark walking free meant unfinished business. Back at Society, Diane and Jack left together. You really think Victor done? Diane asked quietly. Jack exhaled, I think he's wounded. And wounded animals are the most dangerous. Jack glanced toward the exit where Victor had disappeared earlier. Yes, he agreed, they are. Victoria, meanwhile, sat in her car after the kiss with Nate, replaying everything. Her father shutting her out. Adam stepping in. Nick resisting her strategy. Phyllis clinging to control. And now Matt Clark free. The war wasn't cooling down. It was escalating. At Crimson Lights, Sharon finally approached Phyllis. You look like you lost something, Sharon said calmly. Phyllis let out a humorless laugh, not something, someone. You can't control everything, Sharon replied. Phyllis turned sharply, watch me. But even she didn't sound convinced. Across town, Victor stood in his study at the ranch, staring into the darkness beyond the windows. Newman Enterprises would return to him. Matt Clark would not win. Adam's involvement would remain strategic. Victoria's impatience would have to wait. He was playing a longer game. Always. Nikki entered quietly. You're shutting me out, she said. Victor didn't turn, I'm protecting you. From what? He paused. From what's coming. Upstairs, Nick made a call. Security surveillance backup. Matt Clark might be free. But Nick Newman would not be caught unprepared. And in the quiet spaces between conversations, kisses, and confrontations, one truth became clear across Genoa City. Every alliance was shifting. Every family was fracturing. Every enemy was circling back. The war for Newman Enterprises wasn't over. It was just entering a more dangerous phase. And this time, the fallout would be personal. Very personal.